Hi guys, and welcome to the first in a series of professional interviews, or expert interviews I should call them, with people that I know, where we're going to talk about lead nurturing. Today I have the absolute pleasure of the main man himself from the Content Marketing Academy, Chris Marr. Chris, welcome.
Hey folks, good to be here. Thanks for having me on. First time, I never realized the first episode. That's awesome. So let's make it a good one, right?
Exactly. Just start where we mean to go. So Chris, introduce yourself to people, because there might be some people watching who might not have heard of the Content Marketing Academy or yourself.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my name's Chris Marr. I'm 36 years old. I live in Scotland, east coast of Scotland. I run a membership organisation called the Content Marketing Academy. We used to run a small agency, marketing consultancy agency type business, but we kind of over the years just followed our audience into sort of live events, membership type business. So now I spend a lot of my time teaching, advising, consulting on content marketing. And I love this subject, trying to see the whole funnel rather than just looking at, opportunities to get new customers. There's lots of other things that we could be doing as well. So spend every day pretty much just either talking about, thinking about, advising on everything to do with content marketing. It's like my life. It's what I do. I love it. And I love having any opportunity to talk about it. So yeah.
Fantastic. So let's dive straight in. So why is content marketing so important for the whole sales process then? So kind of a bit of an overall question to kick things off.
Yeah, it's a wide question, but I understand the sort of purpose behind it. I think it's key to kind of think to yourself, like when we're talking about content marketing, a lot of people are obsessed with trying to get new business. Like every single business on the planet, if you said to them, who wants new customers, everyone's hand would go up, right? And that's immediately where we always focus on content marketing is get new customers. So how can we create content for people that have never heard of us before and attract, get the search engine position, get the traffic, and then for some reason it all just falls apart, right? There's no content that turns them into a lead or a prospect, turn that prospect into a customer, and then, wow that customer or delight that customer through content post-sale, post-purchase as well. So I think understanding the buyer's journey and as soon as you understand that as a marketer or as an entrepreneur, business person, you start to realize that content plays a part throughout the whole of someone's customer journey rather than just this part that attracts. I think it's so important to realize that people have different questions, different needs, different challenges at each part of that journey. And it's up to us as marketers to figure out what are those questions and those needs and those challenges and frustrations, and then delivering content to them at the right time in that journey that helps them to move through the buyer's process faster, frictionless, with ease, and obviously so they buy something from us quicker and easier as well, which is always good. So that's kind of how I feel like content marketing is so important. And it's not just important to understand that it helps the whole sales process. It's important, first of all, to understand that it's a huge part of, it's not just about getting people to our website. It plays that's almost like the tip of the iceberg, and as far as
absolutely. I mean, I've seen people that have literally put content out there for clickbait in terms of lead generation, but it's not actually on message in terms of what do they actually do. What are your views with that? Is it good to drive traffic to your website just for the sake of it, or should it be targeted traffic?
Yeah, I think this is one of my biggest problems, biggest frustrations in content is the first thing is obviously understanding the zero moment of truth, right? That on average, 70% of the buying decisions made online before someone makes first contact, right? Yeah. So understanding that alone makes you think, right, so marketing is so important these days to get right. And so people that say to you, we've got X number of visitors per day or per month or per year on our website, or X number of page views or sessions, right? That's all fine and well. If it's not the right type of people, then you're not going to have much of a business. So absolutely has to be targeted. One of the biggest frustrations I have is people writing content for their peers instead of writing content for their customers. They're trying to be famous in their industry rather than think about the content that the prospective customers need to help them make an educated buying decision, right? It might not be the most exciting content in the world. It might never drive hundreds and hundreds of people to your website, but for the people that do come along, they're making their way down the buyer's journey. They're making their way through that path to buy from you. And if you're in business today, you have to figure out how content drives sales. And it's not about being famous. It's not about looking amazing. It's not about writing content for your peers. I think it's absolutely has to be, like you said, Matt, it has to be targeted to get a targeted audience to your website of people who are looking for something that you've got in your industry, right? And they'll be comparing your competition. They'll be looking at other things as well. But if there are people that are potentially your customers, then you want them on your website. Absolutely.
Totally. And I mean, we always talk to people about the customer journey and, moving people from one silo to the next. And just because you've paid a load of money for lead generation, I think this is one of my bugbears, is that people always spend a load of money on lead generation and go, we're driving all this traffic, we've got these Facebook ads, we've got LinkedIn ads, we've got pay-per-click advertising all over the place, and we're driving hundreds of thousands of people to our website. Yeah, but what's your conversion rate? If your conversion rate is 10%, well, is it really worth spending all that just because you're getting 10% of those people to actually fill out a form? Mm-hmm. And then maybe getting 10% of those people to actually, show a sign of life, and then maybe 10% of those people to actually talk to you. Mm-hmm. You still haven't done any business yet, but you've thrown all these big numbers at the start of the funnel, and they've just fallen out. And I mean, I think mutual friend of ours, Steph Thomas, I think he, in his last book, Instant Networking, says it really well. And I keep coming back to this, that the sales funnel isn't gravity fed. You've actually got to do something to move people along.
Yes.
But I think the perception is still that it's gravity fed, and you can just drop people in and just sit back and kind of go, great, something's going to happen here. And I think that's totally wrong. And that's kind of why I wanted to get you on here for content, because I think that's so key in it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think you're just going to cram as many people in the top, and if you just get as many people as you can, eventually something's going to happen. It's true, like eventually something will happen, but that's not a strategy. That's not a strategic approach to doing business.
That's not sustainable either.
No, it's not sustainable. It's like, this is the beauty of content. Content should create better customers. That's really at the heart of content marketing. Creating content that creates better customers. And what I mean by that is creating content that attracts the right people from the start, right? Yes. They're already kind of looking for what it is you've got, or they might not know that you've got the solution, but they're on your website, and through your content, they're getting more and more educated. So then they go through the funnel or go through that process, that buying process. They're getting more and more educated. They want to spend more money with you. They want to tell other people about you. You want to share your content. They want to do more business with you over a long period of time. That's the key. If you can get a good customer from the start, then that makes everything easier for everybody, like for the whole journey, like for years, for how long they want to stay with you. So I think if you start with the right intentions, then you're going to end up with something great, a really sustainable business, something you can be proud of, customers that you love working with as well. So I think that's what we all want, really. I think content marketing really that's like the heart of content marketing for me.
Totally. And I think, with people cramming loads of numbers at the top, I think I kind of describe it as smash and grab customers, because they might buy from you once, but because they're not really, as you said, educated or targeted in the right way, actually the rest of the buying circle of retention, upsell, things like that, they're just literally, I'll buy from you today, but I don't really know why, because you're throwing those numbers there.
So if you want to run I think it's about profitability as well. I mean, if you want to build a profitable business, you can't be just putting all your money into ads all the time as well. Like, I'm not going to diss advertising, but really when we're looking at content marketing, we're trying to create information that people will find like educational, will help them, versus the ads. Like, I think really we want to build assets for our business, things like content that increases in value over time, versus constantly just putting our profits back into ads again. So I think there's a balance somewhere in the middle there, but content really can solve a lot of the problems that people have, like if they're spending too much money on advertising, or if they don't feel they're getting a return on investment for advertising. It's not the only way. Content marketing can really add a ton of value to a paid campaign as well.
Yeah, I mean, you said it there, so return on investment. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. So in your view, how long will it take using content marketing? Should you see a return on investment? Because a lot of people will be out there thinking, right, I've got to invest a lot of my time to write blogs. And as you said, I've got to then do the research to make sure I'm talking to my actual customers and not my peers.
Yeah.
So therefore, my time's got value. When should I start seeing a return from this? Because I can make a lot of noise, but if it's not bringing people,
that's a good question.
When are you going to cross that line?
Yeah, so ROI is like a funny, woolly type of topic. It depends who it depends a lot of context, right? So where you are in your content marketing journey matters, right? So if you're at the very start, the metrics that you measure to determine if you've got a return on investment might be different for someone that's like a more mature level of content marketing, say 3 to 5 years down the line, right? ROI might look slightly different in terms of how we measure ROI. So ROI, when we say ROI, I think a lot of people think pounds, dollars, customers.
Yeah.
But that ROI is not a metric. It's not, ROI is not a metric. ROI is like, well, what do we use? What metrics are we using to measure if we're getting a return on our investment, right? So it could be a set of metrics. So it could be something as simple, especially if you're in the early days, of traffic, pages viewed per session, leads from content, goals from single articles, things like that. Could be email lists, growth, that sort of stuff could be really early signs that your content is actually successful and that you are getting a return on the investment that you're making. The thing with content as well is like a blog article that you write, say it's like really good quality, it's the best version. This is one of the things that we're really pushing just now, actually, in CMA especially, is content. It's because there's so much crap out there and there's people churning out content all the time. If you really want to make a big impact, it has to be the best version of that piece of content that's online today. That's what we really want to be creating, right? And if you do create something like that, the value of that piece of content might not truly be available to you until 3 to 5 years down the line, when it becomes like a true asset for your business. Sometimes it's not clear what the ROI is on a 3,500 word article until 5 years down the line. And we have to be prepared to put that time and effort into creating something that's truly valuable. It's the most helpful version of that piece of content that exists online today, and that our customers are going to get value from it today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. And you measure that return on investment over time. But it really comes down to the set of metrics that you use to measure. So instead of ROI, I like to use ROO, which is like return on objective. Like, what was our objective with that piece of content, right? Did we achieve that objective? So we're creating a piece of content, what we want to see from that. And we're measuring, and not only that, we're measuring the metrics that make sense for where we are as well. So literally, if you're just getting started with content, you can't say like, oh, we're going to do this campaign. We're going to create like a dozen articles and we want to see 10 customers or something like that. Like, it's just completely like the metric you're measuring for a goal is completely, there's just a massive gap between that and where you are in the actual journey of content. So really, if as a marketer, we want to, if we're reporting, we really want to use the metrics that help us show that our content is actually making a difference. And sometimes that isn't pounds and dollars. And it's something that we have to accept, that that's the way it's going to be. And the biggest myth in content, I think, is that someone, you write an article, someone reads your article, they phone you, they buy from you, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to write and publish
your content.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to write, publish, read, write, publish, read, write, publish, read, write, publish, read, and then they build the relationship. And that's how it works. And I think anything that's anything that takes a lot of effort, you want to put as much as you can into it. Nobody gets into business to be average. We all want to be the best we can be. So go out, create amazing content, and believe in the process. Like, you have to have faith in the process. The results will come. Just don't do yourself like a disservice by measuring the wrong metrics at the wrong stage for the wrong piece of content. Like, just make sure you know what the objective is, measure the right metrics that determine that you reached your objective. And it doesn't always have to be pounds and dollars.
No, exactly. And I really like that in terms of, again, it really fits in well with the lead nurturing as well, because I think a lot of the stuff that lead nurturing suffers from in terms of, say, emails and things like that, I think content also suffers as well, because of the fact that people always used to say, well, there are now people are getting bombarded with hundreds of emails a day. They're also getting bombarded with loads of content each day. And I guess part of it is they may not read it today, they may not read it tomorrow, but they may read it next week or the week after. And again, I think it's, making sure that the people that are coming to it and seeing it and actually doing something with it are the right people. And again, it's setting those objectives, because, ROI, as you said, people will look at it as a smash and grab thing. Have I made money from it? Yes or no. It sometimes becomes that binary that I think the real value in it is overlooked. And I think, it's the same with lead nurture, because, again, something that you release today, the true value of it may not be realized until 6 months down the line. So
Exactly. I always use the example of like going to the gym. Not that I go to one, but if I did, it'd be like, so this is the mentality that some people have around content and content marketing and kind of like generating this. What we're talking about really is generating a sales process that takes someone from being a stranger to a customer, right? And and it's like going to the gym and then, for the first week, and then every
do one
day,
sit up and expecting the six pack to appear.
Exactly. Simon Sinek said it, right? Remember, you go back, you look in the mirror, I don't see any change. A week later, go back, look in the mirror, don't see any change. And it's not till 6 months or a year later, you actually start to see all coming together. Yeah. And it's the same thing, honestly. Consistency in anything that you do in life is the thing that pays off in the end. So in content, it's no different.
Totally. And, again, using the content for a lead nurturing sequence, for instance, I've seen people that have done a lead nurturing sequence that somebody signed up for their lead magnet. That might be their ebook, might be a video series, something like that. And then after, say, a couple of weeks, that sequence stops because they go, well, we haven't converted them yet. And that's it. It's that patience. It's putting things in place. Just because they're not ready to buy from you today doesn't mean they're not ready to buy from you tomorrow. And it's that patient element. But again, the more you can, it's the same with content. As you said, you can tweak it and you can do things with it to make it the best that it can possibly be. And lead nurturing is exactly the same because of the fact that if something doesn't work, if something works better in 6 months' time, well, you can reshuffle it and realign it. And I mean, I think people want results yesterday as opposed to actually having a bit of patience and putting the focus, time, and effort into these things. Because again, creating great content doesn't just, you don't just click your fingers and all of a sudden there's this fantastic blog that everybody's going to read today. So again, it's a bit of patience. So I'll put you on the spot there. So what are your 3 tips for people bringing their lead nurturing and content marketing together?
Yeah, so I think like we've covered some of them, I think. So really just making sure that we are, like, I think the number one thing, can I cut through the noise, is that we really, like, back to one of my earlier points, is like people writing content for their peers. And also kind of, this is like the mistakes that people make, really, writing content for their peers and also focusing way too much on top of funnel. Top of funnel is important, like, don't get me wrong, it really is. But there's other parts of the process as well. And I think if you really want to, if you've got an established business and you're trying to figure out how to get a quick win with content, is to write content for people that are already in your funnel, right? To write content for the people that are already prospects, right? Yeah. And that can really get a quick win for you in terms of how moving people through the funnel, right? So I think that's like number one. Big tip is to write for your prospects, write for the people that are already in your funnel. The number, like, but really like the top thing for me is really truly understand the value of content marketing. This is like a number one tip, is like learn about content marketing, learn how content marketing leads to sales, understand the link between them both. They're not mutually exclusive from each other. Content can, and done properly, will lead to sales and better customers and profits as well. So just understand how in your organization you can bring content marketing and sales together and make it a win from that. That's like a big thing. So, learning, education, understanding. And the reason that I say that is because content marketing isn't a priority in a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses. And the reason for that is because, well, the biggest excuse we get is, I don't have time. I don't have time to do that, Chris. Yeah. And all that says to me is, I don't value it. I don't get it yet. So
it's almost like trying to build a house without putting the foundations in. That you know you're going to need it further on. Yeah. But actually, you don't really want to do it because it's time and effort and all this. But actually, the better the foundations, you can build upon it, because then you do have fuel for your emails. You have fuel for your social media. You have fuel for your pipelines, everything like that. Yeah. But if you don't do it, you're going to be scratching your head on a Friday going, I haven't sent an email out and I've got to do something.
Exactly. I think content, really, if you understand, if you're saying to yourself, I don't have time to write a blog, I don't have time to do all of that, Chris, then all you're saying is, I don't value and I don't get it. So the next thing is really, well, we need to get it. So we've got to do the learning. We've got to educate ourselves about how content can really sort of like grow your business and make it really sustainable. Build out like this great sales process to get someone from a stranger to becoming a great customer for your business, and educate your team. Get your team involved in this as well. Everybody can be a part of this. This could become a really big part of the culture within your organization as well. Embrace it and just try and see the opportunity of it. A lot of people don't change until their back's against the wall. Yeah. Don't let that be you. See the opportunity, see how it can differentiate you from your competition as well, and embrace this thing we call content marketing, because it really is I feel like the best way to grow a business. It just leans right into everything I believe about sales and marketing and how we get customers today. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think a lot of things you read today, and they're all saying content, because again, it positions you as the expert. It gives you a voice as opposed to just putting two-dimensional stuff out there, really. So we're going to wrap it up there. Chris, where can people learn about content?
The Content Marketing Academy, of course. Yeah. Contentmarketingacademy.co.uk. Jump across to the website. And if you want to pick my brain about anything that we've covered here today, I know it's been like quite fast paced and quite short, but that's cool. Chris at cmauk.co.uk. And you can grab me on Twitter at Chris Marr 101. Pick my brain, ask any questions. Door's always open.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Chris. Hopefully you guys have found it useful. We're going to do loads more interviews with loads of other people, and probably, no doubt, pick Chris's brains. Sorry, arrows the other way. Pick Chris's brains again later on. So thanks for joining today, Chris. It's been a great session.